The perception of time is how we feel and measure time. Our minds compare the present and past events to give us a sense of time passing. The strange thing about it, though, is that time doesn't seem to be constant. Sometimes an hour can seem to last a long time, while at other times an hour can go by very quickly. First of all, time does not fly when we're having fun, nor does that have anything to do with the process. In order to measure an amount of time, we find its duration. Our minds find duration by measuring the amount of information we remember between the beginning and the end of the event. The main reason time fluctuates is the amount of information we remember is inconsistent. Time flies when there is nothing to remember. We only form many memories when there is a change. If all of the memories seem the same, most of them are forgotten. Then we have less information in the time period, so we infer that the duration was shorter. For instance, many people find that time seems to speed up as they age. A year for a 5-year-old would seem to go on forever, while a year for a 50-year-old would not seem like a long time at all. For the 5-year-old, every day is full of new experiences and ideas, and they're experiencing things still for the first time. This makes time seem slower for them because there's so much more to remember. For a 50-year-old, on the other hand, they have already been around long enough to know what to expect out of every day, and few things surprise them. Often their life has long since evolved into simple routine, and one day blurs into the next. Time speeds up because there is nothing important to remember. There are 1,000 more examples. When we live somewhere else, on vacation or otherwise, the first couple of days stretch on as we notice all of the differences and adapt to the environment. After a while, we get comfortable with the place and time reverts to its normal speed. By now you may have realized, as I did, that there are some situations that seem exempt from that explanation. For instance, staring at a wall or doing something else that's incredibly boring is hardly a rush of new experiences, yet it drags on incredibly. Through my research, I couldn't find anything that would explain that. From what I found, I have pieced together an idea. I think our perception of time moves slower the narrower our scope of attention is. For example, if we stare at a clock and wait for it to change, it seems to take an unnaturally long time. When we're staring at the clock, we're focusing only on the number on the clock, which is a very limited scope of attention. Time slows down because their scope of attention is so limited. The big difference between this fluctuation and the last is time. The last explanation explains variation in the duration of memories, such as looking back on an afternoon, while all of the exceptions take place when we are presently experiencing the event, so this fluctuation must affect our perception of the present. I found a report supporting my hypothesis. A test in 2003 had equal numbers of volunteers focus on one object, 2 objects, and 3 objects. Then they reported how long they thought the session was. The fewer objects the volunteers were focusing on, the slower their perception of time was. The people focusing on only one object estimated up to 50% longer than the actual time. Despite the information gleaned from the test, it's still unclear as to why. I theorize that when there are less focused, or focused on fewer things, then there is less strain on the brain, and the other areas of the brain accelerate. If the parts of the brain dealing with that perception of time accelerates, then we perceive more of time, and time seems to move slower. When we're focused on many things alternatively, we put more energy into focus and less into the other areas of our brain, perceiving less of time and speeding up its perception. As we have seen, our perception of time is completely malleable and forms to each situation. A number of factors affect how fast each day goes by, and having fun has nothing to do with it.